The dark web has fascinated, terrified, and lured people for years. It is often painted in pop culture as a shadowy underground full of hackers, assassins, and secret deals, but what does it really contain? This expanded exploration dives deep into the grim realities of the dark web, showing how it functions, who uses it, what dangers it holds, and why venturing there is almost always a mistake. For a channel dedicated to cybernetic warfare, understanding the dark web is crucial because it is one of the primary battlegrounds of digital conflict, deception, and exploitation. To begin, it's important to clarify what the dark web actually is. Many confuse the dark web with the deep web, but they are not the same. The deep web refers to all the parts of the internet not indexed by traditional search engines. Think of private databases, academic resources, medical records, and password-protected sites. The dark web, in contrast, is a deliberately hidden section of the internet only accessible using specialized software, most famously the Tor browser. Tor works by routing internet traffic through layers of encryption, allowing users to browse anonymously. While anonymity sounds appealing, it is far from bulletproof. Law enforcement agencies across the globe have developed increasingly sophisticated methods to monitor and infiltrate the dark web. Many would-be criminals assume they are hidden simply because they use Tor, but they ignore basic operational security principles. As a result, police routinely track down illegal activities, arrest participants, and shut down major dark web marketplaces. Despite these efforts, however, the dark web remains a persistent and evolving frontier of cybercrime. Drug trafficking thrives on the dark web, where entire marketplaces resemble online retailers. Sellers offer everything from marijuana to methamphetamine, cocaine to counterfeit prescription drugs. Some platforms even have user reviews, creating a bizarre parallel to legitimate e-commerce sites like Amazon. However, purchasing drugs online carries severe risks. Law enforcement agencies such as the FBI, DEA, and Europol continuously conduct sting operations and large-scale takedowns, such as Operation Disruptor and Operation Dark Hunt TOR. Even if buyers avoid arrest, they face the possibility of receiving counterfeit drugs laced with deadly substances like fentanyl, which has caused an explosion in overdose deaths worldwide. The dark web's dangers extend far beyond drugs. It is home to horrific content, violent gore videos, child exploitation material, hacking tutorials, weapons deals, and blackmail schemes. This is where predators and criminals converge, and they are not limited to small-time players. High-profile criminals like Matthew Falder, a notorious blackmailer and sexual predator, used the dark web to operate undetected for years, exploiting vulnerable individuals before finally being caught. Cases like his illustrate the dark web's darker underbelly, where anonymity breeds cruelty and violence. One particularly sinister area of the dark web involves so-called hitman services. Numerous sites claim to offer murder for hire, presenting slick interfaces with price lists and guarantees. Yet, in reality, most of these sites are elaborate scams designed to exploit desperate or disturbed individuals. People who attempt to hire a hitman online typically find themselves out thousands of dollars, only to realize they have been conned. Worse, in some cases, law enforcement monitors these sites, leading directly to arrests. Genuine contract killings are exceedingly rare on the dark web. The myth persists largely because people believe anonymity shields them, but in truth, their digital footprints can often be traced. Beyond the illegal marketplaces and services, the dark web also attracts curious onlookers, many of whom think it will offer some thrilling experience or forbidden knowledge. This is a dangerous misconception. Even visiting certain dark websites can expose individuals to malware, surveillance, and psychological trauma. Graphic violence, torture videos, and extreme criminal content can leave lasting mental scars, desensitizing viewers or, worse, luring them deeper into destructive behaviors. The dark web is not an adventure zone, It is a minefield. Another layer of risk stems from the flawed perception of anonymity itself. While tools like Tor obscure IP addresses and make tracking more difficult, they do not render users invisible. Mistakes in configuration, use of personal emails, careless communication, or even accidental downloads can betray a user's identity. Law enforcement agencies are adept at exploiting these weaknesses, and many dark web arrests result not from superhuman hacking but from simple operational blunders by the criminals themselves. For cybernetic warfare, the dark web serves as a prime battleground. Nation-states, terrorist groups, and cyber mercenaries use it to exchange stolen data, coordinate attacks, and spread propaganda. Intelligence agencies monitor dark web activity to detect emerging threats, identify breaches, and gather critical insights into enemy capabilities. The dark web amplifies the asymmetrical nature of modern conflict, where small actors can wield outsized influence by exploiting vulnerabilities in the digital domain. Yet, the dark web also functions as a double-edged sword. While criminals and bad actors operate there, so too do journalists, dissidents, and activists who rely on anonymity to evade oppressive regimes. For them, the dark web offers a crucial lifeline, a space where whistleblowers can leak documents, where political opposition can organize, and where freedom of speech can persist against censorship. It is vital to understand that the dark web is not inherently evil. It is a tool, shaped by the intentions of those who use it. Unfortunately, its reputation is overwhelmingly shaped by its most grotesque and criminal aspects. Despite law enforcement's best efforts, the dark web remains resilient. When authorities shut down one marketplace, another soon rises. This cat-and-mouse dynamic illustrates the challenge of policing cyberspace. Dark web platforms often employ decentralized architectures, encryption, and cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Monero to facilitate transactions, making traditional policing methods less effective. These technological shields, while not foolproof, create enough of a barrier to keep the illicit economy alive and thriving. Psychologically, the dark web can have a corrosive effect on its visitors. Exposure to violent content, illegal pornography, or even simple scamming communities can erode empathy and desensitize individuals to suffering. Some users develop addictive behaviors, compulsively seeking out ever more extreme material. Others fall victim to blackmail or manipulation, drawn into criminal enterprises they never intended to join. The psychological cost of the dark web is a subject that deserves more attention, particularly as more people gain access to anonymizing technologies. For many, the allure of the dark web lies in curiosity, a desire to see what is hidden, to experience the taboo. But curiosity can quickly turn into danger. Downloading files from unverified sources can infect computers with sophisticated malware. Entering chat rooms can expose users to social engineering attacks. Engaging with illegal marketplaces can lead to surveillance, arrest, or worse. The dark web is an ecosystem where every action carries weight and consequence, often far greater than the user anticipates. Law enforcement strategies have adapted over time, moving from purely reactive to increasingly proactive models. Agencies infiltrate dark web communities, pose as buyers or sellers, and monitor transactions in real time. International cooperation has improved, with agencies like Europol, Interpol, and the FBI working together to dismantle criminal networks. Despite these successes, the dark web's decentralized and adaptive nature ensures that new threats constantly emerge. Cybernetic warfare experts must stay vigilant, recognizing that the dark web serves as both a battleground and a breeding ground for cyber conflict. For journalists, human rights activists, and political dissidents, the dark web can be a necessary refuge. In countries where the internet is heavily censored or monitored, anonymizing technologies allow the free flow of information, the sharing of suppressed stories, and the exposure of corruption. However, these legitimate uses are often overshadowed by the dark web's more nefarious elements. As such, anyone considering venturing into the dark web must weigh the potential benefits against the very real risks. From a cyber warfare perspective, the dark web is not merely a fringe space. It is an active and volatile zone where national interests collide, criminal enterprises flourish, and new forms of conflict are tested. It is a training ground for hackers, a marketplace for exploits, and a communication hub for threat actors. Understanding its mechanisms, vulnerabilities, and trends is crucial for anyone working in cybersecurity or digital defense. Importantly, the illusion of safety and anonymity often draws people into the dark web with a false sense of confidence. Tools like Tor and VPNs do not provide absolute protection. Every click, message, and transaction leaves traces that can be pieced together by determined investigators. Moreover, dark web users often underestimate the sophistication of law enforcement, imagining that they can stay ahead of the game indefinitely. In reality, operational slip-ups, informants, and undercover agents mean that many criminals' lifespans on the dark web are shorter than they imagine. The future of the dark web is likely to become even more complex. As technologies evolve, new anonymizing tools, encryption protocols, and decentralized platforms will emerge, reshaping the contours of this hidden internet. Simultaneously, law enforcement will continue to innovate, using artificial intelligence, machine learning, and big data analytics to uncover patterns, predict criminal activity, and identify threat actors. This arms race between defenders and attackers will define the next chapter of cybernetic warfare. In conclusion, the dark web is a perilous, complex, and multifaceted domain. It is not a playground for the curious, nor a consequence-free space for digital mischief. It is a theater of real-world consequences, where illegal activity flourishes alongside legitimate dissent, where psychological harm looms alongside technical innovation, and where the balance of power in cyber conflict is constantly tested. For most individuals, there is no compelling reason to visit the dark web. The risks of legal trouble, psychological trauma, financial loss, or exposure to profound human depravity far outweigh any possible rewards. For those who must navigate it, whether as journalists, activists, or cybersecurity professionals, it demands careful preparation, robust defenses, and an acute awareness of the stakes involved. The dark web is not just a hidden part of the internet. It is a battlefield where the future of digital security, privacy, and warfare is being contested every day. Object.